We always want to keep our immune system as strong as we can, whatever the situation. As athletes, it is a challenge balancing our food and our exercise. And obviously, what we eat and how we train affects our immunity. So today, in this video, I'm going to be speaking to an expert nutritionist to find out what we can be doing to optimize our overall health. We talk a lot about nutrition for training and racing, but what about the essential foods that are required to keep us healthy? I mean, if we're not healthy, obviously we can't then race and train. And then there's stress to add into the equation. Both mental and physical stress have an effect on our bodies, yet it is hard to measure that. And I expect you're starting to realize, just like me, that the equation for staying healthy is far bigger than just what we eat, as I discovered when I spoke to Ligne McGregor earlier. And I made the mistake of starting off by asking her what foods we should be eating to boost our immunity. Hey Ligne, thank you so much for your time and joining us. Just want to start off with talking about immunity today, and lots of people are wanting to make sure they're boosting their immunity in these situations. What foods in particular should we be looking at that maybe we want to have a bit more of, or at least making sure that we're managing to take in at the moment?
Okay, so firstly, I think the key thing to say is we can't boost our immunity. Okay, we can support our immunity and we can maintain our immunity, but we can't boost it, because I know there's a lot of misinformation out there at the moment, especially in our current climate. A lot of kind of posts coming out, Instagram posts, advertisements for particular supplements that are going to boost your immunity, and that's not possible. So I think it's just really important to highlight that that's not the case. However, we can definitely maintain our immunity, and it's a combination of lots of different things. It's not just food, although that has a massive part to play, but it's also remembering sleep. You know, sleep is huge in terms of our immunity. We know there's loads of studies that have shown that if you get less than 8 hours a day, it has a real negative impact on your immunity. Stress, which of course is big at the moment, right? Like, a lot of people are feeling incredibly anxious and uncertain about the situation we're in. And I know from the people I've been talking to from a work perspective, anxiety levels are incredibly high, and it's trying to find strategies that can help you deal with that, I suppose, which is really important. And then also on top of that is being active, but not to the point where you are overstressing the system. So I know UK athletics, Scottish athletics, Scottish ballet, and a lot of the other kind of professional bodies I've been working for, they've all sent out information to all the athletes saying, do not do strenuous exercise right now, because we know, again, that can depress the immune system. So stay active, as in, you know, do something most days, get outside, all that kind of stuff, but you don't have to push yourself to the point of breaking. Or even trying to overcompensate, which I think a lot of athletes tend to do, especially at the moment when they're feeling stressed and they're locked in, and we don't know what's going on with the race calendar. It's difficult. It's a tricky time.
But going back to food, so what can we do to help maintain our immunity then? Are there certain food groups that we should be definitely making sure that we have, as more now than ever? Are there certain foods that maybe we're not taking on that we could consider?
Yeah, I mean, the key thing I would say is trying not to remove anything from your diet at the moment. So I think it's very much about a balanced approach, as it always is, generally speaking. But I think, again, just some of the things I've read on social media recently, there's PTs and some coaches suggesting people do a bit of fasting, miss out breakfast, things like that, which actually is the worst thing you can do for your immune system. My advice is try and keep as much routine as you can and ensure that you're getting a really good balance. So we know that one of the key areas of immunity is ensuring there's enough carbohydrate in the system, particularly if you are being active. So if you're trying to maintain some level of training, and like you're getting out on the bike, or you're getting out for a run, or doing some sort of weight session, make sure you are fueling with your carbs before and after that, because that's when your immune system tends to be at its most vulnerable, is after like a session when you don't refuel and you don't recover properly. So I'd say that's one key nutrient. The other thing is obviously making sure that you are getting as many vitamins and minerals as you can. Now, I appreciate that can be quite hard if you're not going out to the shops that often and you're not buying as much fresh fruit and vegetables. But remember that there are options. Like, we do have frozen, we do have canned, we do have dried, and they all do contain high levels of vitamins and minerals. So you can still make sure that you're getting sort of your vitamins and minerals. And the particular ingredients, the particular nutrients I'll be looking out for would be iron, because we know, again, a low iron level can reduce your immunity. So foods that are particularly high in iron are fortified cereals, red meat, eggs, beans and pulses to a degree, green leafy vegetables, whole grains. But the thing you've got to remember is that with plant-based options, it's much harder to absorb the iron. So trying to have that with some vitamin C can really help to boost the uptake of iron. So that's a really important nutrient to be thinking about and ensuring you're getting in your diet. Then obviously it's kind of trying to make sure that you're getting a lot of your B vitamins and also zinc and vitamin C, which again, if you're eating a really balanced diet, which you're having carbs, protein, essential fats, fresh fruit and vegetables or frozen fruit and vegetables or whatever, you're having some sort of intake of vegetables and fruit, you should be meeting all your requirements without really having to worry too much.
What's your preference out of, like, what has the most nutrients when it comes to frozen, dried or tinned? Obviously fresh is the best, but after that, what's the next, what's sort of the ranking order?
Well, actually, to be honest, frozen's actually probably better than fresh at times, because when we buy fresh and we leave it in our fridges or we leave it on the side, every day that it's left on the side is actually losing vitamins and minerals. Whereas when we have frozen, it's picked and it's immediately frozen. So it preserves the vitamin content a lot more. So I'm a big fan of frozen fruit and vegetables, and it's something that even not in this present climate, I tend to rely on quite a lot, because while I do like fresh fruit and veg, I also know that with my schedule, sometimes fruit and veg can be in the fridge for a week before I get around to doing anything with it. So I would say frozen is kind of like probably at the top, then canned and then dried.
And you talked about, and I know we've talked about it before, vitamin C to help absorb iron. Do you need to be having something with vitamin C in at the same time or before or after? So say you're having a glass of orange juice to get your vitamin C. Is that best alongside, or when should you have that to help absorb the iron?
Ideally alongside it is when we would recommend it. So having your whole grain fortified cereal in the morning with a glass of juice is a great way of doing it, or even adding some frozen berries to your cereal. That's also very high in vitamin C, so that would be a really good way of getting it. So, it's kind of, there are lots of different ways. Vitamin C is actually very, very easy to obtain. I think people panic about vitamin C, but the average medium-sized orange gives you your vitamin C requirements for a day. So it's not actually that hard to get your vitamin C requirements. I think people think that they need to eat it in mega doses because, again, we've been told it boosts our immunity. It doesn't boost our immunity. But what we do know is that if you increase your intake of vitamin C and zinc on day one of, say, some sort of cold infection, it can reduce the longevity of the infection. Now, whether that is the same for COVID-19, I have no idea. I doubt it is, because it seems to be like a very different virus and affects people in very different ways.
Really, at the moment, a lot of people are sort of not doing maybe as much weight bearing as normal, and also not getting as much sunshine as normal. Is there anything we can do to help our bone health at the moment? I mean,
normally I would recommend a vitamin D supplement through the winter months. So I would be saying September to April anyway. At the moment, I have to admit, I've carried on taking my vitamin D tablets because although I am getting outside once a day, it is once a day. It's not, it's not as much as I would like it to be. Again, we know that vitamin D is really important for your immune function as well. So I would say to people that if you have been taking a vitamin D supplement, I would continue to take a vitamin D supplement for the time being while we are indoors, as much as we are. And the other thing you can do with weight bearing is actually doing multi-directional type movement. So you don't necessarily have to go outside and do that. That could be that you get, if you've got a resistance band, or you don't even need one of those. If you could just do some lunges, maybe for 5 or 10 minutes a day, even that will be enough to try and keep the bone health turnover going.
And so you mentioned taking vitamin D. Are there any other supplements that people might want to take at the moment, or could help at all with maintaining their immunity?
I mean, fundamentally, if you're getting a balanced diet, you don't need to take any additional supplements apart from, say, vitamin D. There is some really good evidence that taking a probiotic can help with upper respiratory tract infections. So we know that when we were preparing athletes for major international games, so the Commonwealth, Paralympics, Olympics, we would usually encourage, you probably remember, we would usually encourage them to take a 12-week course of probiotics in the lead up to the games in an attempt to kind of help prevent any upper respiratory tract infection. So that would be something that I think could be of benefit right now. But otherwise, unless you have a known deficiency, so unless you are somebody that has a low iron intake, or is maybe not getting quite enough calcium because you're not eating dairy, and perhaps you can't get your usual sources. I know I've had a few of my clients contact me saying they're finding it really hard to get soya milk and soya yogurts, because I suppose everybody's kind of just been out and bought what they could, and stocks are a little bit low. So if you are worried about your calcium intake, then that might be something to be worth taking. But otherwise, you should be able to get everything you need through your diet.
Well, that conversation with Ligne has really drummed home to me the fact that protecting our immune system cannot be achieved single-handedly by food alone. It is very much about a fine balance, and it can be quite difficult to find, especially when circumstances are changing. And if there has been a dramatic change, it's really easy to overcompensate by dramatically changing your diet or your exercise, or even upsetting your sleep patterns. And I think for me, the biggest take home from Ligne is, whatever the situation, to try to maintain some sort of routine, or as close to a routine as you can manage. Listen to your body, and also just keep that really nice, healthy, balanced diet. And yes, sometimes that's easier said than done, but hopefully you guys found that useful, because I certainly got some tips to take home from that. So give us a like and a follow on our social media channels, and make sure you stay nice and healthy.